Hello, everyone. This is Big Baby Ben.
And this is Judas Black tonight, and we have a special guest with us tonight. Not just a guest, a monster. We have the monster Humec on the show here tonight, the Aztec monster. How you doing tonight, brother?
Hey man, I'm feeling good. Feeling good. Can't complain.
Absolutely, absolutely. So why don't you go ahead and we're going to give you the floor for a couple minutes here. Tell us about yourself, who you are, and the things you got going on for yourself right now.
Sure. Yeah. I've been doing it. In March, it's gonna be 10 years. Um, I've tried to keep myself um to exclusive places. I was taught in like sort of a old school mentality, so I really pick and choose where I go. I make sure that if I'm here, I'm not gonna be 20 minutes up the road as well, because then people, you know, it's like accessibility at that point. Like I can't make today, or if they have the choice between today and tomorrow, that take money out of the promoters. So I like to make sure I still like that territorial mindset.
Okay.
Okay, all right, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So what wrestling schools have you attended? I mean, like, how did you kind of get your start?
So it was funny. So back in high school, I've wanted to do this since I can remember. Like before I was born, my uncles were entertainers. They had their own band, um, and they got some buzz too. They got a record deal chance. It got kiboshed by some irresponsibility, but that's another story. They could tell that one. Um, but they used to have. I don't know if you guys know Ox Baker.
No.
No?
No, he was an old school guy, and he used to play cards with Harley Race every Thursday night. But
Okay.
every time he was in Chicago, he would stay with my family. So we've always been attached to wrestling. So I always wanted to do it.
Okay.
But come high school, I got into wrestling because I felt like that was the natural way to get into it. But me and my coach did not see eye to eye. So I ended up leaving the program and I got into video editing. So
Okay.
I got really good at that. Joined the TV program, got a whole bunch of awards, and I was like, damn, maybe I should pursue this. So I went to college for it, and I had stopped watching wrestling because I was just focused on that, focused on sports, football, all that stuff. And then my buddy who I was going to college with started watching wrestling again. And watching him fall in love with it again, I was like, man, I need to keep up with it. So I started watching again, and then I was like, why don't we introduce wrestling into our show? Because we had like a little sports radio show,
Okay.
and we did. I don't know if you guys know Max Holiday.
Nope.
No.
He wrestles. Yeah, he wrestles around Chicago.
Okay.
Um, but he put me on because at the time, Santana Starks, which was the first company I worked for, Anarchy Pro, they were opening up in Hickory Hills, like a training center.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So when I had introduced him onto the show, he's like, "Man, you're pretty big. Like, you ever think about doing this?" I was like, "Actually, yeah. Like since I was a kid." And he was like, "Well, they're having a like introductory program. Like, come out and check it out." And it's I've been going since.
Okay. Okay. That's very interesting. And I do have to bring up one point real quick before we continue with this interview. You know, Big Baby Ben and myself, if you did, I'm sure you've probably seen it on our Wrestler Bros page. At the last show, he took a chop from the Apex. And we wanted to start this new little session called Wrestling with Bros Presents Chop Sessions. And
Okay.
Big Baby Ben has said that at every show he is willing to take a chop from a wrestler, no matter who it is. And we would love if that you showing up to one of the shows, you would be one of our honored guests to give a chop to Big Baby Ben.
Almost definitely.
All right. So there you go. All right. So you mentioned some big names there, Harley Race, Max Holiday, things like that. That you kind of got your start with this. So what is a typical day for a wrestler as far as the training plan and stuff?
Oh, so I do got a 9 to 5, but it's not full time. I work part time, so they could work with my wrestling schedule and I could maneuver.
Yep.
Um, so anytime I'm not there, I'm in the gym. I've been doing this for a while, so I make sure all my workout programs are more pertaining to the full body range of motion. That way, my timing doesn't get off because my homestead's ring, it's 2 hours away, so it gets real convenient. I just had a daughter, so like getting that
Congratulations.
Yeah.
situated. Thank you. So I really try to keep my timing in the gym, which can be hard. Um, but I try to go to early shows if I want to try something new or you know work something out that I haven't done before.
Okay. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We've seen some of that destruction at the Plano show, man. Some guys trying to do splashes to you and stuff like that, just getting swatted out of the air. Big baby, you got a question?
First seeing Humec in the ring and his entrance is so intense. He brings the energy to the ring like, holy crap, this dude's about to destroy everybody. Like, I get that vibe from you, and the crowd got it from you, and you put on one heck of a show. And it was such an honor to see you wrestle, and now have the honor to have you on this podcast. Do you have any favorite type of match type that you like to compete in?
Oh wow. Um, so in my early stages of Anarchy, before I knew any better, they opened up a division called the Mayhem Division, which was all gimmick matches.
Yep.
So I got to do barbed wire around the ropes. I've done table matches, gotten hit with some crazy things. But I will say, I've always wanted to be in an elimination chamber. I feel like that'd be, the destruction. It's just you could do a lot of fun things in there.
Well, it might be fun for you, but I don't know how much fun it's going to be for the other guys, especially if they don't have your size.
Yeah.
Just don't let them let you fall through a chamber, because if you go through a chamber and they move out of the way, man, it's going to hurt pretty bad. Absolutely. So, where do you kind of see your future going? You're in the indie circuits and stuff, and where does your future lie as far as the wrestling business?
Oh man, I'm at a fun point. Um, so actually piggybacking off the training after that, because they were really independent, I ended up breaking away, getting into shows, and I noticed that I started working with like bigger names and stuff like that. And one thing I found out that I needed to get retrained. Well, not retrained, but I needed to take it to the next level, be TV ready, things like that. So I had moved down to Florida and I got partnered with WWN down there, which is Matt Seidel School. They're attached to like FIP, ACW,
Mm-hmm.
um, Shimmer, Evolve when it was a thing. Um,
Major.
yeah, shout out to Francisco Chiazzo. That was my trainer out there.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that I walked in. He was like, everything that you know about wrestling, throw it away. Today's day number one. Um, so that really reset my mind to where like I found out because I had already sacrificed a lot. I knew what I was getting myself into, but then going to Florida, it's like, now it's like I moved to a whole nother state by myself. Um, Now it was time to like, is this what you want? And I made that decision that I want this to be my 9 to 5 and I want to do this every day. So I really pursued that. And then COVID happened. So I had paid for WWN was doing a partner with WWE as far as they would do a 5-day camp where you'd run through the drills, they evaluate you.
Mhm.
So I trained for it, and it was literally the weekend, March 28th, 2020. So COVID happened, they canceled the event, so I never got my tryout.
Mhm.
So I moved back here, moved back to Chicago, and I got really depressed. I got really sour about the business. I stopped talking to everybody. I didn't reach out for bookings. Um, I got in a real dark spot. I gained a lot of weight. I used to be, I was 330, and then I shot up to 386. I was just not watching my weight at all. It got real dark. And then I found the company that I wrestle for every Saturday now is Premier Pro Wrestling,
Mhm.
which is Randy Ritchie. And man, the wealth of knowledge that he has, it's that old school mentality. He was a producer back in the day. He was a utility guy for real. So it's not, you're not looking for what works. You're looking for how to make you work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And really fit into this business.
Okay. Interesting. That's very interesting.
Are there any championships that you've held that mean more to you? Are there any championships that you want to hold?
Hmm. Well, I am Aztec. I am Mexican, so I love any gold. Um, I
Absolutely.
really wouldn't say that anyone meant more, but each one I took that as the opportunity that I'm working hard. I'm working harder than everybody else there, and they're giving me this leadership role to take the company to where it needs to go and present it and such. Um, so really, the opportunity of being in that or constantly being in number one contendership shows that uh, what I'm doing matters. You know what I'm saying? So that validation, you can't beat it. So they're all pretty much the same.
Okay. So, is there anybody out there on the circuit currently that you would love to call out and send a challenge to?
Oh man, that list is too long. Um,
On the top of the list.
cocaine, cocaine.
Okay. Okay. There's a wrestler named Cocaine.
Oh, you haven't seen it? It's been all over the internet, man. Over
Okay.
at the Juggalo Championship Wrestling.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
going to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to check that one out. That's an interesting wrestling name. I don't know if he'll be able to carry that with him to WWE or anything, but
Yeah, no, but no, actually, you know what? Now that you say that, Ed Stone over at Reality of Wrestling.
okay.
I'm a fan of his work. I just worked a 5-man scramble yesterday, and I was like, I never been in one before. Um, and I watched his video on how to do it, and it really gave me a sense of the direction I should go for it, and worked
Okay.
out. Yeah.
So at the Plano show, you talk about you're a Mexican wrestler, Aztec. You actually faced off in the ring with two superstars in a tag match with Slick Willie. And your one of your opponents, he was actually a Mexican wrestler, Rafael Quintero. What is your thoughts
Yeah.
on Rafael Quintero?
He's one of those guys I've seen more than I've worked with. I see him doing a lot of CSW stuff. I don't have any gripes with them, or I just like to work more shows with him. It was real fun to work with him.
That's what we hear from a lot of people. He's an absolute amazing person to work with.
Yeah.
So, all right. All right. So, what would you say? So we've talked about like training plan, things like that. How much time a week would you say you spend working on your wrestling and stuff?
Working on the wrestling every day. If I'm not in the gym working out, I'm watching wrestling. I'm studying something. I'm giving advice to somebody, asking advice from somebody. Um, I try to have it in my mind every day. I do all my own design work. I do all my own everything. So really trying to make sure I keep up with the marketing and making myself a presence on social media, and so really, it's an everyday project.
Okay. All right, big baby.
So, how did this dominant gimmick come about in your mind?
Oh man, that's a great question. So, it's actually been a part of my whole life. So, in the beginning of wrestling, they wanted me to be a Samoan character, and I was like, "That's cool, but I'm not Samoan." I'm like, I don't know if that'll translate well. Um, but I'm like, I've more so seen the opportunity that because I'm a big fan of. You ever seen the movie Apocalypto
Yeah.
by Mel Gibson? I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of that movie, and that put like an idea in people's heads of what my culture used to be, and I seen an opportunity to represent my culture in like a way that has been done before, but has never been done before. Because we've had Kamala, we've had Umaga,
Mhm.
so it's just my evolution of it. Because I'm Mexican, and there's nothing more real than my people. So I wanted to represent that and show it. I didn't want to be the ooga booga monster. Because the Aztecs were smart. They were
Absolutely.
leaders and created a whole bunch of things. So, and
So
then it come to find out, like back in Mexico, my uncle used to teach about the Aztecs, and I got real involved into spirituality and becoming a shaman and things like that. And I found out I have a birthmark that the Aztecs used to identify their shamans with. So it got me real connected with my culture, my family. It's just well-rounded. Wrestling is for everybody. It saves lives.
yes, absolutely. So what does this name Humec? What exactly does the name Humec mean?
Oh, that's a funny story. So uh, the Humec actually used to be Huemac. So it's
Okay.
Wemak, which means Toltec king. It
Okay.
was a certain tribe of the Aztecs. But the guy introducing me didn't know how to pronounce it. It was his first time ring announcing. So he pronounced it Humec. And I was like, you know what? I actually like it. It's more marketable with the 5 letters. Everybody can say it, everybody can read it, and
Yeah.
it still gets the same idea, you know.
All right. All right. All right. So what do you think is the most physical and mentally challenging parts of wrestling?
Ooh. Physically, it's pretty obvious what we do in there, making sure. I'm pretty sure you've heard a bunch of people talk about the bump card. Um, so it's really, yeah, saving that bump card, making sure everything that you do in there really means something. You have the opportunity to paint this picture. It's your responsibility to make sure you go in there the way you came, get out of there the way you came in. And
Mhm.
same for your opponent, so because the physicality, it's all there. But just making sure you're on that. And then um, I would say the mentality for it is not having that instant gratification. You sometimes you don't always go get those instant results. You do in the form of the match, but not in the general scheme of things, depending on what your goals are, and making sure what you're doing now is for tomorrow, even if you don't see the results today.
Okay, like
All right,
it.
big baby.
So, earlier you said that you watch tape and you study tape. Who do you study when you watch tape?
Oh, man. Pick it. I do AWA, USWA. I try to watch full shows. Anybody, I'll just start name dropping. Bruiser Brody, Stan Hansen. I watch everybody current. I like to keep my finger on the pulse. You name it. I watch AEW. I watch WWE. Watch NWA. Um, can't get enough wrestling. I watch all my friends wrestling on the shows. I watch the show itself that I'm on. Try to make sure I'm not doing anything that anybody else is doing. Um, but yeah, Dory Funk, Terry Funk, Damian Wayne.
Okay.
Yeah,
Some
watch them all.
there that you're name dropping there. So, do you have any like special rituals that you do like prior to training or prior to coming out for a match or preparing for a match?
The face paint.
Okay.
So the war paint for me, because no matter what I'm doing, no matter who's there, no matter all the situation, me getting dressed, that part goes by pretty quick. But my face paint is the time of the show. I'm not worried about anything else going on. Just it's just me in that mirror, getting my mind right, getting ready for the show, really watching the mask come together. Um, but once that mask is on, I'm now that person, and that's that switch.
All right. So Humec comes to life.
Yeah.
May I ask where the face paint designs come from? Is there a certain design story behind it, or is it just your own personal design?
So I've never, well, I base them off of each other, but I've never really done two designs the same. Granted, I love the Sting way where he's done the same thing for always. Um, but the Aztecs, they all used to have different paints. So it
Mhm.
was a cultural thing to have the war paint. Um, so I really took that and made it my own. So I do a different face depending on what's going on. Like this beginning of the month was the Day of the Dead, and I got to
Okay.
wrestle for him. So I did Day of the Dead and inspired in my face.
Okay.
It's more of a cultural thing. So I
Well,
loved it. That it tied in a lot with wrestling aesthetically.
you know, and I'm going to ask this question though. It's probably very rare with someone as powerful as you to get broken or injured or stuff. But have you
Yeah,
ever broken any bones or had any major injuries?
I did. So two
So
years ago.
Humec is breaking.
Yeah, yeah. I set up a dude for my finish, which is like a dominator into a driver,
Yep.
and he had came over too fast, and his knee landed right on my ankle, and I had a compound fracture on both bones of the ankle.
Ooh,
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm sure that's not the way you've seen that going. How,
no, not at all. And I finished the match.
how long did it take for that to heal?
I think it was like 6 to 8 months, but I'm still dealing with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Broken my toe and I get sore pain in my toe when the weather's bad and stuff like that. So it never truly goes away. So yeah, definitely that. Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's when I started having like sciatica nerve problems and things like that. Because I used to do yoga. Well, I still do it now, but at that time I had to stop because of my ankle, and so I couldn't stretch really. I'd get some in, but there was a lot of stretches I couldn't do for my hip and stuff. So it just got worse and worse to where my spine had shifted, and I went to the chiropractor. I've been working on it this past year, and I'm finally back to the point where I could run on it and really not have to worry about it, even though I sometimes do. And it got me to put boots back on because I used to not have boots. I used to wrestle with the tape feet.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. All right. So we know you're a dominating force as Humec, the monster Humec. But what has been your toughest opponent to date?
Oh man! Besides Hornswoggle, I'd say Abyss.
Abyss.
'Cause he was
A
Okay.
bit.
Abyss. Yeah, I got the opportunity to work with him, and that was my first big name. So
Yep.
that was my second year into wrestling. So it was like I was still, you know, distracted
That's
by all
out
the
of this
shiny
world.
lights and spectaculars of it, and like, yeah, I watched this guy on TV. Um, so it was really getting that mindset and learning the business, um, and just sparking up real quick.
Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. I mean, that's a big name, the Abyss. I mean, he was a powerhouse and a monster himself. So definitely a monster versus monster would definitely have to take the cake in order to bring down the Humac.
Oh yeah,
Big Baby.
Hearing that name Abyss, and we've heard so many legendary names come from you tonight. How does all this build you up to who you are now? I mean, like, just all the experiences that you've had. What has it done for your career to work with the Abyss, to work with so many big names in the business?
Um, well, it helps me help people. Um, it it smartened me up, and really everything that you take from somebody, you gotta be open minded. You can't act like you know everything. Even still to this day, I'm rookie mindset. I don't know shit. Uh, feed into me, feed into me.
Yep.
Um, I don't care who it is. You've been in 2 months. Tell me anything that you got because we're all fans of this, and we all have an opinion. And I value people. So to have people of a position of they know what it takes to do this at an accelerated level, there's no reason why I should have anything to say and not be brain open, ears open, ready to obtain knowledge.
And that's something that I've been told in this wrestling business is always pay attention to what someone has to say in this business because there's always something new to say and always something new to learn. But one thing that you did say that catches me off guard, and that is we are all fans of this business. I've
Yeah.
had wrestlers tell me you're not a fan, you're the performer. But
Mm,
you said is true to the heart because just because we're the performer doesn't mean that we can't be fans of this business. And
yeah.
so I love that you said that because that I really felt that when you said that. So
Yeah. I never understood the looking down on fans, treating them like marks. I always felt like we're more of the marks to where we're sacrificing our life for this. Like we have to love it so much to want to be it. You know what I'm saying? So to look down on anybody who loves this is shameful.
absolutely, you're absolutely correct on that. So let's get in a little bit of a lighter note. What is a very funny moment that you've had happen to you in the wrestling business that you still remember today?
Oh man. So a couple instantly pop out in my head.
Go ahead and
I
share.
worked with I worked with this lady, Melanie Cruz.
Okay.
My first time working mixed, and we did a spot to where she pulled down my pants. That was my first time being vulnerable as a monster. Because I always took myself too serious. I was young, hard headed. Um, but things like that show you that we're all just having fun.
Absolutely. It's
And
true.
then the second one, I was trying out different gear ideas, and I had gotten these one tights that were made just a little too small, and the band wasn't big enough.
Uh-huh.
So it had rolled, and my whole ass crack came out in front of the audience.
Oh man.
So
Yeah,
both times, your funny situations, you were exposing yourself to the world.
yes.
That's great. That's great. So, we heard you say who you would love to be able to face and challenge in the wrestling business. Now, if you could have any dream match with a major superstar that's out there in the wrestling business, what would that dream match be?
Oh man, easy. Undertaker in either a buried alive match or a casket match.
Okay.
I
There
Oh,
you
want him to choke slam me, and I go through the casket.
go. Holy shit.
I'm too big for the casket.
That would be an amazing dream match. You're actually the very first person on this show to say that they would love to have a match with the dead man.
Oh, yeah. Or
So,
even R.I.P. Bray Wyatt. I would love to do anything with him.
oh yeah, Bray Wyatt. God rest his soul, man. He was a hell of a talent, and his gimmicks, and it's still living on today in the group known as the Wyatt Six. What's your opinion on that group?
I love it. So I wasn't a giant fan. Like I'm not one of those that about a about the production value or whatever, the spooky, scary stuff. I'm okay with that. Um, I just feel like Bray Wyatt made it what it was.
Mhm.
So now, when it was him or those things, I was always towards him. I wasn't a giant fan of the Fiend stuff actually.
Okay.
I felt like that should have been strictly production. Him just being basically like a Michael Myers of the locker room. Him just taking out the talent. Like in my mind, that's how I envision him. Like no championships, none of that. Um, but I was a fan of him as the Eater of Worlds. Swamp Bray
The White
Wyatt.
family. Yep.
So like this new Wyatt Six, I've actually grown to love just because of his absence and seeing him still represented. So I like it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Big baby.
I don't know if you watched Crown Jewel or seen results for Crown Jewel, but you said you watched WWE. Did you happen to see the Gunther and Cody match?
Oh, of course. Yeah, banger.
So, do you believe that Cody needed the win, or do you think that Gunther still looks strong?
Oh yeah, I feel like there's that type of championship. I think we all knew what that was. It's a championship for out there. Um, so I feel like either one of them taking that loss, that gives Gunther more fire and that gives Cody another notch on his belt. So it kind of
Right.
feeds into what they already got going on. So that's how I see it.
Okay. All right. So, you know, Humec, this has just been awesome here tonight, man. But something we want to dig into, before we close this out here tonight. We are proud to be a part of this company known as MCW, Midwest Championship Wrestling. They give Wrestling with Bros the opportunity to be a big part of their show. And December 7th, they don't disappoint. Big Baby, I think you have the banner for that. December 7th, 2024, the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital toy drive donation. Live Pro Wrestling. And then they bring unwrapped toys or gifts to donate, accepting toys and gift cards. And then all the donations will be delivered by MCW wrestlers. This is at Skydodge Chicago as usual. And that right there, that all the toys and stuff donations will be delivered by MCW wrestlers. That right there tells me that people in this wrestling business truly do have a heart for
Yeah,
children and for those that are dealing with things like cancer. And this event is just going to be huge, and we're super pumped to be a part of it. So tune in there. Even if you don't make it, man, we will be live, man. We'll be live at that event, and we are super excited to be able to be a part of it. So
of course, of course. It'll definitely be associated.
absolutely, absolutely. Is there anything else you could think of tonight, Humec, that you would like to tell the wrestling world, the wrestling fans?
Oh man. Nothing that anybody else hasn't said already. Wrestling is real, people are fake.
I love that.
Facts.
Still believe in kayfabe. Watch wrestling, no matter what kind. Just watch it.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Big Baby, you got anything else tonight?
We got one more guest in the comment section. Good old MCW referee Jerry Dennis.
How you doing tonight, Jerry?
But Humik, it was such an honor to see you in Plano. Just such a dominant force, and cannot wait to watch you wrestle live in person again. Such an honor to be able to call your match on my podcast, do live commentary. You were such a dominant force and so impactful. Thank you for letting me call your match, man. That was such an honor.
Much
Thank you.
gratitude, man. Yeah,
And
much
normally,
gratitude.
we're able to stream our pod live. We're able to, sit at the desk, have a camera aimed at us, recording the show, getting live reaction from us on the commentary team, but the internet absolutely sucked in Plano. And it really irritated me because, guys, actually see this man in person performing in a match, you just truly can't understand his power and his dominance in that squared circle. You can ask any of the guys that faced off against him, especially one of our best friends, AMB, man. That poor guy. When you slapped him in the chest, it sounded like a shotgun going off.
Yeah, I remember that one vividly. He went for the lucha style arm drag. Caught him on the rope. Wow.
Wow.
Big
That's why I'm surprised you over there asked for a chop.
Big Baby, are you sure you want to take a chop from this man?
Look, I got 1.2K views for the Apex one. I think Humec, I think he's gonna leave some welts. So I think
Hey, you know what? To
You
make
know what?
to make
I
the
do
video,
the double chop, so I'll make sure I just single chop you.
you know, just to make this video even better, guys, I'm going to say this right here, right now. Next time we see Humec at MCW, I will gladly take a chop as well.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely, man. I've taken some nasty chops from some of these guys in the wrestling business, man. And I think you're going to probably top it.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Let's see your hand. Let's see the size of that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a frying pan, Ben. Look at that.
NBC, this one's swollen from last night. Some people's chest got it last night.
See, he destroys chests for a living. All right, Big Baby.
Well, it comes to that part of the show where we got to say our goodbyes, but what a great time it's been. This is Big Baby Ben.
This is Judas Black. Guys, this here tonight was an exclusive interview with the monster Humec. Jose Serna, guys. Awesome guy. Look at there, right there. Why don't you go and say goodbye there as well, Jose?
All right. I'll see you guys later. Follow me on my social medias. I'd love to do this again. Like I said, I came from TV, radio, web design. I'm always down to talk.
All right. Absolutely.
Appreciate you guys.
This has been another